15 years ago, my old husband cheated on me with his childhood friend and even had a child with her. This made us split up. After we separated, the friend he cheated with kept bothering me, and it got so bad that I had to leave my job. At my lowest point, my current husband came into my life and helped me out. We've made a happy family and lead a peaceful life together. But then, unexpectedly, I bumped into my ex-husband who left me 15 years ago. He said mean things, like nobody would want to marry me because I couldn't have kids. But I stood up for myself and mentioned how my son, who looks just like me, is adorable. This surprised him and made him nervous. My name is Emily Johnson. I'm 38 years old and I live with my 13-year-old son Kyle, my 11-year-old daughter Lily, and my husband Mike, who's also 38. Kyle is in middle school and sometimes acts rebellious, but Mike helps keep him in line. Lily loves fashion and often gets her way being the youngest. Despite the noise and chaos, we live happily together. This is actually my second marriage. I divorced because my ex-husband betrayed me terribly. It all started when we were in college. We were happy and talked about having kids, imagining how cute they would look in matching outfits. But reality wasn't as kind as we hoped. A whole year went by without us having a child. Each month when my period came, it put a strain on our relationship, which neither of us liked. We had many discussions and even tried expensive fertility treatments. But when we were told that there was nothing wrong, our relationship didn't improve. At first, my husband, let's call him Jan, was supportive and helpful. But as time passed without a child, his attitude towards me changed. He started making sarcastic comments, blaming me for not being able to have kids. He stopped helping with household chores altogether, leaving everything for me to do. When I asked him why he had suddenly stopped helping, he said hurtful things like, "Since you're infertile, if you don't do the housework, you're not fulfilling your role as a woman. What's the point of our marriage then?" His words became more hurtful over time. He would compare us to my sister and her husband, who were expecting their second child, and mock me for not being able to conceive. He even said things like, "If you had a normal body, I would have been a father long ago." It hurt me deeply. On top of that, my in-laws started pressuring me, saying they wanted to see their grandchild soon. My mother-in-law's attitude towards me became harsh, calling me useless and defective because I couldn't have children like my sister-in-law. I felt pressured every day. One day, my friend Sarah invited me out for drinks because John had been busy with work and coming home late. So, I thought taking a break would be nice, and I accepted Sarah's invitation. But then, Sarah revealed something shocking. She said she wanted to talk to me about something important. Sarah mentioned Jessica, who was John's childhood friend. They grew up near each other, and their families were close. Jessica and I went to the same university, but we weren't close. John once introduced me to her as his girlfriend, but she didn't seem to like me much. Sarah explained that Jessica works at the same company as us, and she got her job because of her connections. Jessica was tall, beautiful, and quite popular, being the president's daughter. Sarah then dropped a bombshell. She said she suspected that John and Jessica were having an affair. I was shocked by Sarah's words. I remembered seeing them together recently, holding hands. It didn't seem innocent. I thanked Sarah for telling me and promised to look into it. Deep down, I had a feeling that John was cheating. His behavior towards me had been awful, and he often stayed out late, claiming to be working. I had a suspicion, but I chose to ignore it. After parting ways with Sarah, I decided to hire a private investigator to gather evidence. It didn't take long for the investigator to confirm my suspicions. A few days later, when I returned home, I found John sitting at the dining table, unusually early. I tried to sound casual, but I couldn't hold back. I told him I wanted a divorce. His reaction confirmed my fears. He confessed that Jessica was pregnant with his child. "So, I'm going to marry Jessica, your childhood friend. You said she was just a friend, but now she's pregnant." "You were having an affair," I accused John. "Don't call it an affair. Jessica can actually get pregnant, and she's beautiful." "There's no reason for me to choose you over her," John replied brazenly. I was shocked by John's attitude. He didn't think he was wrong at all. I couldn't find the words to respond. Seeing me silent, John scoffed and mentioned that even his mom preferred Jessica. She liked her more because she's beautiful, kind, and can have kids. Feeling hurt, tears started flowing down my cheeks. John then announced that he was leaving for the sake of the child about to be born. He packed his things and left without me having the energy to stop him. Later, I received divorce papers, and there was a note attached, written by Jessica, asking me to divorce her husband quickly. Those words made me realize something. Why was I being blamed for all this? I couldn't stay silent anymore. I gathered the evidence I had and filed for divorce mediation. A few days after filing, I received a call from an unknown number. It was Jessica, screaming at me, asking why I was suing them. She demanded alimony, saying she had a baby on the way and needed the money. Her accusations hurt me deeply. I hung up the phone, deciding to settle the divorce, including alimony, in court. Thanks to the evidence I had, the mediation recognized John and Jessica's relationship as adultery. John tried to blame my infertility, but it didn't work. Even though no tests had confirmed me as the cause of our infertility, within just a year of our marriage, I received $4,000 in alimony from John and $20,000 from Jessica, both paid in one lump sum. I didn't want a prolonged, messy payment schedule or any lingering connection to them, so I accepted it and finalized our divorce. But my suffering didn't end there. Since John, Jessica, and I all attended the same university, our affair scandal became the talk of the town among many friends. According to a close friend, rumors spread that I had hidden my infertility and tricked John into marriage. Some even sympathized with John and Jessica. At work, Jessica spread unfounded rumors, and everyone sided with her, especially because she was the boss's daughter. She portrayed herself as the victim, tearfully saying that I was taking money from them for alimony despite hiding my infertility. Despite my hard work, I faced discrimination and was progressively left out of major projects. Feeling mentally cornered, I chose to resign. While looking for a new job, I received a headhunting offer from another company. They valued my diligence and talent. At my new job, I experienced fairness and equality. I found myself drawn to my wonderful boss, Mike, who supported me during my lowest times after my terrible split from my ex-husband. After several dinners together, Mike and I started talking not just about work. This is how I met my current husband, Mike. After things developed well between us, Mike proposed to me. However, having been rejected by my ex-husband for infertility, I had many fears about marriage. I confessed to Mike that I might be infertile. Mike earnestly assured me that even if we couldn't have children, he would always be by my side because he loved me. His words filled me with happiness, and I decided to marry him soon after. After our marriage, we were blessed with our first child, Kyle, followed by our daughter, Lily. Perhaps not getting pregnant with my ex-husband was a matter of timing or compatibility. Raising children is challenging, but we were living happily. Then, one day, I attended a friend's wedding. During the ceremony, I stepped out to go to the bathroom and unexpectedly saw my ex-husband, Jan, whom I hadn't seen in 15 years. I panicked momentarily, but then I remembered that the bride and groom were friends from college, so it made sense for John to be there. I tried to ignore him, but he called out loudly, making remarks about my weight gain and making unpleasant comments. He then introduced his family, including Jessica and their son. Jessica made rude remarks about my weight and infertility, and John bragged about their son, who was handsome and smart. They looked down at me with smug smiles, praising their son while belittling me. However, their son seemed unhappy with his parents' behavior, seemingly displeased with them belittling someone else. He must be a very kind boy, I thought, but I had no time to deal with them. As I turned to leave, John grabbed my arm tightly, stopping me. "So you caused our divorce because of your infertility, and then you have the nerve to extort money from us," John accused, still holding a grudge about something that happened 15 years ago. Jessica joined in, saying, "Yeah, you're a single, infertile woman. Why would you need money? Families with children like us need it more. Don't you think you should pay us back double the amount you took from us? I was dumbstruck by their selfish remarks and speechless. Then John and Jessica's son spoke up, pointing out that I was wearing a wedding ring on my left hand. John and Jessica were shocked to realize that I was married. Their loud exclamations drew stares from the surrounding people, leaving me mortified and unsure of what to do. Just then, I saw a familiar face. You shouldn't be so loud at a celebration like this. It's disturbing others. Maybe you should be more considerate. My son Kyle scolded them, surprising me with his boldness. Lily, concerned about my late return, had come with him. Lily, as usual, was outspoken, but it was rare for Kyle to speak so provocatively. "Mum, you're late coming back," Kyle said. "Do you have kids?" I replied that I did and introduced them. John seemed speechless, shocked that his ex-wife, whom he thought was infertile, had 2 children. Jessica stared intently at my son and then muttered in a strange voice, fixating on his attire. She seemed surprised that he came straight from school with his dad and mentioned his uniform from a famous private middle school. "Oh yes, Kyle's attending the prestigious private middle school," I affirmed proudly. Kyle excelled in his studies and was attending a well-known local private school. Jessica expressed disbelief, saying, "It can't be your child at that school. And my daughter plans to take the exam for the same school next year." "That's right," I confirmed. "And you know what? Kyle is amazing. He won a violin competition." Jessica seemed to recognize Kyle, mentioning that she thought she saw him on TV recently. I confirmed that he had indeed been getting media attention lately and explained that he was coming back from violin practice that day. John and Jessica were left gaping, frozen in shock. John stammered, "You were supposed to be infertile. How could you have such?" I calmly addressed his confusion, saying, "I'm glad to see you two seem happy. As you can see, I'm filled with happiness too. Let's not involve each other anymore. We have nothing to do with each other now." As I prepared to leave with my children, my husband Mike appeared. "Hey, what's going on here? The main event is about to start," he said. John's face turned pale upon seeing my husband. Jessica, too, trembled upon realizing who my husband was. "Your husband is Smith, the young CEO of ABC Corporation, who got the job last year, right?" Jessica asked nervously. I corrected her, explaining that my husband, Mike, actually worked as the CEO of the parent company of Jessica's father's company. He had been job hunting. With that revelation, John and Jessica were left speechless, realizing the magnitude of their mistake. When the parent company approached him for a position, that's how he switched jobs. I met Mike there, a man who was already popular and skilled. Last year, he was recommended by the then CEO and took over the role. "Yeah, it's Smith. But what's with this atmosphere? What happened?" Mike looked puzzled, sensing the uneasy air. That's when Kyle spoke up. "These people were saying mean things about our mom, calling her infertile and fat. So Lily and I came to help her," Kyle explained. Kyle and Lily had overheard my ex-husband and his wife making rude comments about me, which prompted Kyle to speak up. Upon hearing Kyle's words, the word infertile seemed to click something in Mike's mind, and his expression turned grim. "I had heard rumors, but I never imagined they were this insensitive," Mike muttered. Suddenly, John started to defend himself to Mike. "No, I mean Mr. Smith. I would never say anything bad about your wife, right, Jessica? Why are you growling so much? She's just his wife, right? I was the one who got yelled at by my father and suffered a lot because you made me pay her money for our affair. I'll never forgive you." Jessica panicked, realizing the implications. "What are you saying? If he dislikes us, our subcontracting company is finished. Think about that." John quickly started to flatter Mike, realizing it was bad to be disliked by the CEO of their parent company. But Jessica, not satisfied, started arguing with him, creating a ridiculous scene. Then Jen and Jessica's son, who had been silent, burst out, "Stop it. Listening to you both is terrible. You're saying awful things about her, calling her fat and infertile, and now demanding money back. I'm ashamed. And what about this affair? Am I a child born out of an affair? Am I unwanted? His voice cracked with tears. John and Jessica started to fumble for words, unsure how to respond. As I realized the guests were staring at us, Jessica noticed their gazes, blushed, and looked down. Although I still couldn't forgive John and Jessica, their son seemed to be a just and kind boy. He was innocent in all of this. Thinking this, I was about to comfort their son when my husband Mike spoke first. "Thank you for standing up for my wife. You really are a kind boy," he said gently, patting the boy's head. I followed with a smile, saying, "But maybe I am a bit overweight." "That's not true." "Well, actually, I'm pregnant. My belly is getting bigger," I said, stroking my belly. "I'm currently pregnant with our third child and on maternity leave." Seeing the boy with tears in his eyes, I added, "Your mom took great care of you in her belly, just like this. You're not unwanted. Your parents love you and are proud of you, right?" I looked at John and Jessica. The boy then asked them, "Really?" In a hurry, they both nodded vigorously and said, "Yeah, yeah. You're our pride and joy, absolutely. You mean everything to us." At this, the boy immediately broke into a wide smile. Feeling a sense of relief, I suggested that we remember that today was a day for celebration. With that, each family returned to their respective seats, and the turbulent scene came to a close as the wedding ended. As we were heading to the station, Jessica and John came up holding hands with their son. Kyle and Lily had been intimidating the two who had insulted me, but Mike calmed them down with a wry smile. We're sorry. We're really sorry. It's too late, but for everything before and for today, we're truly sorry. And thanks for earlier, for our son." Jessica and John apologized, their first in over 15 years. I laughed, saying, "Really, it's too late now." With that, I turned and started walking away. Kyle offered to carry my bags, and Lily draped a jacket over my shoulders. Even as children, they were considerate of my pregnancy. "All right, how about we make Dad's favorite hamburgers for dinner tonight?" I suggested to Kyle and Lily. Excitedly, they agreed, thanking me. With a vow to protect the smiles of my beloved family, I was moving away from the pains of the past.